This year, Hecla Mining hit record production in the company's 125-year history. Joining me now on the sidelines of the BMO Metals and Mining Conference is Phil Baker, the CEO of the company. Phil, good to have you back on.
Thank you, glad to be here.
Record production.
That's right.
You're smiling about that.
Absolutely. And in 125 years to have the most production in our history has given us also the most revenues in our history.
Now, is that really thanks to the ramp up at San Sebastian? What was the strategy here?
Well, yeah, so San Sebastian's a property we've had for 15 years, and we had previously operated it. But we made the decision 2 years ago, in a time frame when prices were declining, we said, this is a property that can generate returns regardless of where the prices are, so let's invest in it. So we did that, and we were able to get it into production, generate triple-digit sorts of returns, and a huge amount of production and cash flow.
Now, these type of production numbers, when we see such a ramp up, there's obviously higher costs involved here. So how do you find a balance?
Well, in this case, we made, what we did was we leased a mill, and we brought in a mining contractor. So in terms of costs, we invested about $7 million and generated almost $100 million of free cash flow. So this is not like most mines that are huge capital consumers for a long period of time before they get returns. This thing got a return immediately.
Now, the silver price, having a very good year so far, up about 12-13% since the start of the year. How dependent would you say Hecla is on the price of silver?
Well, look, the price of silver is important to us. Obviously, we're have been a 125-year-old producer of silver, but our cost structure is so low. So last year, our cash costs were about $3.50. They're so low that it really doesn't matter. We're going to make very good margins regardless of where the prices are. So we're out of the norm for the industry, and that's why we've been around for so long.
And what's your sentiment on the price of silver? Are you bullish? And what's your sentiment on the industry as a whole?
So the price of silver will over time have its ups and downs, but generally speaking, it's going to go higher and much higher, in part because of all the uncertainty that you have in the world and all the things that cause the gold price to go higher. But in addition to that, you have real uses for silver, and those real uses are growing in terms of the number of uses, but more importantly, the number of people that consume silver. So around the world, as people move into cities, they consume more silver than they do living in rural communities. So the outlook for silver is fantastic. So when we think about the future, we think about where do we have big silver projects. So over the last 2 years, we bought 2 properties that together have as much silver as Hecla as a whole has. So we're very, very bullish on silver.
So I know you said that you're not so dependent on the price, but would you say you really follow it closely? Are you watching it?
Yeah, of course. Minute by minute, we have a pretty good idea where silver price is. But having said that, we make investments for decades worth of mining. So we have to look at a property and say, can this property operate wherever the silver price is going to be? So and that's what we have, and that's what we're developing.
Are there some areas you'd like to enter that you're not in yet?
Yeah, the answer is we've got lots internally. We don't have a need to bring new assets in. Having said that, we're certainly evaluating new things that we can really take some of the technology that we're applying to our existing mines and apply it to these other mines.
Finally, before I let you go, I know we were saying that the feeling in the room is there's a lot of optimism, and sometimes the mining industry seems to get a little bit ahead of themselves. What are the dangers there?
Well, the dangers are you don't create margin. And so an example of that is if you look at people's price assumptions for the calculation of reserves, they're pricing it at spot today. We're using the same price we had a year ago, $14.50. So we got $3 of margin already built into our assets that none of our competitors have. And it's troubling because what ends up happening is prices are going to be volatile and you're going to lose value.
Phil Baker. Continued success. Thank you for joining us. And thanks for watching our coverage here from the BMO Metals and Mining Conference. We'll have much more for you on Kitco.com. Thanks, Phil.